And we stop in front of a Starbucks. We're in the press bus. We don't know what's going on. And Clinton goes, well, we're a little early. I thought I'd buy the traveling media some coffee. So the Secret Service agents storm the Starbucks, scare the hell out of everybody in there. And then we all go in and Clinton gives us coffee. And now we're standing in a circle. It's me, it's Clinton, me, Bill Nelson, the photographer I was working with, Gene Yeagle, another reporter, another photographer, and Chris Tucker, the actor who had been traveling with Clinton. They went to Africa together. In fact, Clinton said, I knew I was no longer president when they said, who's that old gray-haired guy with Chris Tucker? But what was cool is I said to Clinton a bunch of things. I started asking him questions. I play reporter wherever I go. And he said, you know all about me. And he asked me a couple of really good questions and wanted to know how long I've been doing it and different stories. Then he goes around the room and he talks, around the circle rather, outside, talks to everybody. It's been 15 or 20 minutes since I've said a word to Bill Clinton. And he turns to me and says, Mike, I have a question about something you said before, which meant he was listening to me. And that is the Clinton magic. Everybody says he's like that. But I also had a great life lesson to say, shame on me if I don't pay attention to someone who's talking to me. How many times have you had a conversation with someone, they're looking past you to the next person that they can impress or talk to? Yeah, don't ever do that. If Bill Clinton can pay attention to me, I better pay attention to anybody I'm talking to. General Schwarzkopf led our war effort, a major hero. Vietnam, he was involved in a friendly fire incident that almost ruined his career. And it haunted him from Vietnam to when I spent time with him in Saudi Arabia, but he bounced back. The story with Schwarzkopf in Saudi Arabia, they flew everybody from Tampa Bay, every media outlet, to Saudi Arabia because the military decided they weren't going to repeat the mistakes of Vietnam and they were going to rely on the local reporters to tell local stories to build up the war effort. And we were there with Schwarzkopf, and one of the photographers from Channel 13 asked a question that a reporter should have and said, General Schwarzkopf, this is right before the war started, are Americans ready to see the sights of their servicemen coming home in body bags? Now I'm sitting next to Schwarzkopf, and he starts pounding the table with every word he says. He goes, none of my men will come home in body bags. And then he realized he lost it. He's screaming. I'm moving further and further away from him because he's scaring the hell out of me. And he said, I'm sorry. He said, we may have some losses, but I hate that term. I have since Vietnam. I had that incident in Vietnam, and we're going to move past that. And we may have casualties, but we're not going to send them home in body bags. Everybody has setbacks. The people that are successful, that I've met through my life, even the ones who have run afoul of the law, bounce back and don't let it hurt them. His dad died when he was 5 years old. He had so many business failures before Kentucky Fried Chicken, but he kept getting up and doing it again and again and again, and then finally sold the company. He made millions as Kentucky Fried Chicken, then he sold the company and made millions more as their spokesperson. When I met him, I had heard that he didn't like the extra crispy, which he didn't put together, nor did he like the gravy that they had made. And so I'm doing a live interview with him on TV, and I said, I heard you're not wild about the extra crispy and the gravy. He said, well, extra crispy is fine if you like a fried dough ball, and the gravy's great if you want paste to put up your wallpaper. But the key that he said to him, he said, I say what I believe, I do what I want, because I've had setbacks, I'm not afraid of them, and I come back. Well, a guy gets out of his car, and he looks at me and he says, you better not be taping me. And I said, well, this is a public garage, I'm sorry. He says, I'm warning you, you better not be taking me. He's getting closer and more aggressive and closer and more aggressive, and he takes his briefcase and goes to hit the lens of the camera. Now, at the TV station, we were always taught that the camera is worth a lot more than the reporter. So our job was to protect the camera, which I did. So I stood right in the middle of it, got hit in the face with the briefcase, and I'm going, Thank you, Lord, you have just made a B-plus story an A-plus. It's going to win all sorts of awards because viewers like to see the confrontation. It shows that they're doing something wrong, and I was as happy as can be. Got his government license plate and all, and was going to track him down, and he was going to be in big trouble. But I couldn't use that confrontation on the air because he was an undercover DEA agent. And had he told me that when he got out of the car, we would have stopped the cameras. The reason he didn't tell me that is because he had been disciplined by the DEA several times for parking in the OSHA parking spots, which were closer to the elevator than the DEA parking spots. And he would come out of the grand jury room, and all the reporters would go up to him and go, Mr. Trafficani, do you have anything to say? And he would go like this. And the sea would split because we did not want to irritate Mr. Trafficani. We were all pretty scared of him, and for good reasons. I did not interview him, but I did interview his attorney, Frank Regano, who also was Jimmy Hoffa's attorney, who wrote a book called Mob Lawyer. And the story he told me about Trafficani, and the good reason I was afraid of him, Regano went to prison for tax evasion. When he got out of prison, he went to Santos Trafficante and said, Godfather, this is how he told it to me, I need a favor. And Trafficante said to him, yes, my son. Do you want me to kill somebody? Do you want me to break their leg? Do you want me to break their arm? What do you need? I'll be glad to help you. And Regano goes, no, Godfather, nothing like that. I need money, I'm broke. And he said, Trafficante went like this. This I cannot do. Willing to kill somebody, break an arm, break a leg, but would not lend him money. I think that local television is in huge trouble. And there are several reasons. One of which is the cell phone. The news today is here. I mean, how many times do you all check your cell phone every day? So by the time it comes on at 6 o'clock, you have seen it all, you know? And then let's talk a little bit about fake news. And there is fake news, but I don't think from real journalists. There is fake news from people who anybody can be a pseudo-journalist now. With the cell phone, you can do anything. My favorite fake news story was during the election cycle when there was a story, an in-depth story about the Pope endorsing Donald Trump. That got 1 million shares. It was shared 1 million times. Have no idea how many views it got. It was absolutely false. So there is fake news out there. But the problem, as I see it for TV, is not fake news, it's frivolous news. News that means nothing to people, and that's why people are turning out. The ratings have slipped in TV news so much because people are getting it on the phone, and they don't like what they're seeing on the screen. But what they're doing is hoping to attract an audience of people my kids' age. I think it's a huge miscalculation. My kids and their friends run from 25 to 40, and they do not watch TV news. They are never going to sit down and watch TV news at 6 and 11 o'clock. That train has left the station, and they're trying to do news that appeals to them. The people that watch news are old farts like me. And I'm a useless demographic. I'm 68 years old. I'll be 69 this year. They don't want me. But I have more disposable income than I've ever had in my life. I buy things all the time, but I'm useless. So they're not doing news for me. Okay, that's Channel 10. The other stations, I watched another station last night at 11 o'clock, and their first 6 or 7 stories were crime, and then crime, and then crime, and then crime, and then crime. That is just lazy, lazy journalism. There is a Pavlovian response to crime tape. because it's easy. You have a reporter stand in front of the crime tape, blah, blah, certain person was murdered here, blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you something about a murder. It is extremely, extremely sad for the victim, for the victim's family, for the perp's family, and a 4-block radius around where it happened. There are 3 to 4 murders every day in the state of Florida, a murder every 2 days in the Tampa Bay area. It doesn't affect us. Let me give you a prime example. Jeb Bush, who I drove crazy. I really respected Jeb. I disagreed with a lot of things. And in fact, he told me several times, Mike, you drive me absolutely crazy. He was really smart, really hardworking, and doing what he thought was right for the state of Florida. I think he wasn't always right. But the problem with Jeb is he always surrounded himself by young people who, whatever Jeb said, they'd go, Governor, that is brilliant. That's brilliant. Well, it's not always brilliant. That's why Robert Kennedy was such a great ally to Jack. It was his brother. He could look at him and go, are you an idiot or what? You know? So find someone who will speak truth to power. This is so important when I'm speaking to businesses. I advocate run your business with integrity and honesty. But if you don't, treat your employees wonderfully, because they're the first ones that come to me and tell me what you're doing illegally. So I'm amazed when they go, that guy's an SOB. Let me tell you, if you're going to, integrity is the right way to do it. But if you're going to cheat, remember to treat your employees well. And then finally, the most important thing that I started with, because it's so important, people are your main product. Don't ever forget that.